Hello and welcome back to the penultimate episode of the year. I've been so excited to share this with you and share my four top ways to make 2025 the year you finally transform your life and health. There is going to be a mindset theme in this episode because I think it's very important, and I've already covered a ton over the years on the physical recommendations. So, yeah, just expect this to be a full mindset episode because the power of your subconscious is absolutely key when it comes to long-term transformation. We don't want any quick fixes here. And it doesn't even need to be the 1st of January that you make a change. We can decide in an instant, in a moment, to switch things up, and we can be a completely different person if we want to be. But there is a powerful energy surrounding the 1st of January and a brand new year. So if you're listening to this before the new year or months later, the same principles still apply. You can still get the same benefits out of it, but you'll have extra power if you start in the new year. We are going to be going a little bit deeper into goal setting and 2025 intentions in my up-level masterclass on Monday, the 30th of December at 7 p.m. UK time, so next week. And it's only £33 for a ticket to join. And if you're a one-to-one client, you're going to get complimentary access to this. That's just another benefit of working with me. So you can DM me over on Instagram at Viva Natural Health, or my email is in the show notes if you want to be a part of it. The replay will be available if you can't join live, but we're going to be covering some of the following: identifying and celebrating your wins from 2024 so that you know what works well and what you can carry on into the new year. We're going to release any limiting beliefs and patterns holding you back from manifesting your dream life and an amazing year ahead. You're going to get clear on intentions and desires for 2025 in all areas: health, career, relationships, finances, whatever you want to work on. You're going to be guided through powerful activations to align your frequency to what you're calling in. I had such good feedback after my 11/11 manifestation workshop last month, and so many messages after that call saying that they'd signed up more clients than they ever have the day after, or they've really noticed a shift in their health a week or so later. So I would love to see you there and get you some of these amazing results as well. Okay, so here are the four things that you need to do to achieve your goals in 2025. Number one is to get super clear on exactly what it is that you want, which I know seems basic, but I recommend getting clear because we need to know where we're heading. It's like if we were to set off on a journey and we didn't have a destination in the GPS and we just like, we'll see where we end up. It's gonna look very different if you make the smallest little bit of a turn, or if you're 1 degree off where you're heading, you can end up, if it's a cruise ship, in a different country. So this is something that you should focus on for the next year, but also your future long-term self as well. And I want it to feel like a bit of a stretch for what you believe for yourself, but also still achievable. So it feels a little bit scary, but you're like, yes, I actually believe deep down that this is possible. That's the type of energy that you want to be going for. And people focus typically on what they don't want, and they make that list a mile long. So I don't want to be in pain anymore. I don't want to be overweight. I don't want to have bad skin. I don't want to be in this relationship or have this job anymore. When in fact, we should flip it and instead focus on what we do want then. And general things like I want to heal or I want more energy, they're not specific enough. So we want it to be positively focused and also extremely specific as you can be. There is a bit of a difference depending on your human design. If you don't know what that is, you can calculate it with your birth location, your birth time. It blends astrology and some of the other modalities together. But there are differences between specific and non-specific manifester. So I'm a non-specific, but I think it is good to be as clear as possible, but you don't need to know the exact minute details of everything. Whereas a specific manifester, if that's in your chart, you do well and you probably find it easier to do that. And I want you to be specific, and instead of just saying, I want more energy or I want to heal, what does that mean to you? Because you could have 2% more energy in the next year and like that has met your goal. Your goal has been achieved, your wish has been fulfilled, but that's not what we want, is it? We want to have energy to work a full work day and then be able to go out to the gym after work, do an hour session, and then still not feel like we're absolutely dead on our feet until bedtime. That is way more specific. Or I want to heal. What does that mean? I want to feel confident in my body. I want to feel energized. I want to be able to go to this place with my friends and go on holiday here and work out 3 times a week for 1 hour in this particular form of exercise. And it can shift over time. So it's not like this is your desire for the rest of your life. You can definitely alter it, but can you see how way more specific that is versus I want to heal? Because you could have more energy in 6 months' time, but you're still not where you want to be. And then you think, oh, okay, I've not achieved my goal yet, but you have maybe improved 50%. So your expectations change, your perceptions change. So we need to be specific, and you'll know then when you've met your goal if it's happened or not. Think back to school or your studies where they create these SMART goals. So it needs to be specific, measurable, etc. And that's how we should be with our manifestations as well. I also recommend writing it down. So don't just have it in your head. And you can even create a vision board. This has really helped me. I'm looking at mine on my desktop screen right now, and that keeps it front of mind. And it can cover all areas of life, health, work, relationships, finances. And every time I log into my computer, and I'm also going to do one from my wall behind my desk too. I think Canva have a cool printing service now where you can create a little board and then print it, like 3D print it, and have it delivered to your house. I think that's going to be really cool on a canvas instead of doing the cut and stick method because I'm not very good at crafts and I don't really enjoy that too much. But my friend did one and she used one of these free printing services. It costed just for the delivery, so really cheap, and she really enjoys that. But this is just going to be so that you can see it daily and then your brain starts to familiarize yourself with those images and try to get the images as realistic as possible. So someone with the same coloured hair, or even put things that you've already manifested on there. So your little pictures of your home or something within your current reality that you've manifested, put that on the board, and then your brain will start to see all of those things as similar. So it'll be easier to manifest the other ones. Those are just some little vision board tips for you, and you can definitely do it old school if you prefer. And people with New Year's resolutions or whatever you want to call them, just make a mental note or write it down one time and never look at it again. But this should be something that you're revisiting weekly or at least every single month, just to keep it in the forefront of your mind. Because your brain has so many other things to process, so it needs to remember what your goals are. And with this goal or multiple goals, you want to think of, what does this person look like? What does future you in 2025 look like? Or even further than that, what are their daily habits? Who do they hang out with? How does this person feel, think, and behave? Because then that becomes your personal reality. And when you switch those up, you create a new day-to-day for yourself. So we want them to be positively framed and focused, and that's because the subconscious doesn't hear negation. So if you say, I don't want this, it doesn't hear the don't, it just says, I want acne, or I want a bad relationship. Another tool is visualization. So your subconscious doesn't know the difference between real and imagined. And that's how you could be sat on the couch worrying about your bills and have the same physiological stress response as if a bear was chasing you and you were about to be killed. We can use this to our benefit though, and visualize daily future healed you in your dream job and your dream relationship. And then over time, your brain will start to see that as familiar. I would do this so much when I was struggling with my health, and so many of those exact visions have come to fruition. And it's honestly crazy. Be consistent with reminding yourself daily what you want and know that this is already available to you. And in some other dimension, this is already happening. This goes into quantum physics, and Joe Dispenza's work will help you to understand a little bit better, but it's so true that what is on your heart is meant for you. Why are some people destined to be a writer, or they've known since they were 5 years old that they want to be a doctor, or they want to live a really slow life on a farm in the middle of nowhere? Everyone has completely different goals and desires, and that's because what we desire is meant for us uniquely. I just want to take a quick pause to ask you a really important question. Where do you want your health to be in 6 months' time? More energized, feeling comfortable in your skin and body again, excited for life because you're finally starting to see improvements with your health, or frustrated and depressed because you're still struggling with symptoms, which are taking over your life and stopping you from living life to the full. If you want the first option, you're going to have to do something different. After all, the definition of insanity is doing the same things over again and expecting a different result. If you're DIYing your health, meaning trying to heal yourself through researching, trial and error, wasting a lot of money and time in the process, then you could be sabotaging your results. Would you try and fix your car if it broke and you didn't know what was wrong with it? No. So why are you trying to do it all alone when it comes to the most important thing that we have in our life, our health? Trust me, actually asking for help and investing in yourself saves you time, money, and a lot of stress in the long run. I know you're probably not getting any answers or support from your doctor. I've been there too. That's why I created my 6-month signature hormone reset package. This one-to-one coaching package offers the highest level of support and transformation as we'd be closely working together to identify and address the underlying root causes of your health issues. Even if you're already eating healthy and taking supplements, there's so much more to healing, so don't feel like you've tried it all. Let me help you figure out what's causing your stubborn symptoms and support your body in healing naturally, which, in case no one has ever told you, is completely possible. Check out my website, which is linked in the episode show notes for more information, and the links to apply or book an enrollment call are there if you want to chat further. If you've been looking for a sign, this is it. Number 2 is that you should start doing more identity work. People typically rely on motivation and willpower, but that's not going to last. That is you using your conscious mind, which is only 5% of your brain power. We need to work for the long-term results and success on a subconscious level. Our subconscious develops mainly under the age of 7, from 0 to 7. During that time, our brain is like a sponge and it absorbs everything around us, our parents, societal beliefs, their behaviors. We take it as absolute fact and carry those things into adulthood without ever questioning it. The subconscious is like the hard drive of the computer, and we can go in there and update it. We're not stuck with it for life, which is good. Let's take an example of gym goers. To them, it is just second nature. Every day they wake up, they put on their gym gear, and they're out the door before they can even think about it. And they've not only done it so many times it's become habitual, but if you were to ask them, they would actually identify with being a gym goer or an active person. And even when they're on vacation, on holiday, they're still working out, which to you might seem absolutely crazy, but that's probably because you don't have the identity of that type of person, and it can shift. Whatever follows I am or I have will become and remain your reality and your identity. And the strongest force in the human personality is to stay consistent in how we define ourselves. That's a Tony Robbins quote that I absolutely love. So if you say that you're an anxious person, or you have chronic illness, or you're always late, or you have bad luck, your brain and your subconscious mind will find evidence and back up that belief. Another example is someone trying to quit smoking, and let's say they're offered a cigarette and they say things like, no, I really shouldn't, I'm trying to quit, or the person's just counting the number of days that they've gone without smoking. That person hasn't fully made the identity shift and is just relying on willpower to keep going. Whereas someone who declines and says something like, no thanks, I don't smoke, they now identify as a non-smoker and they're going to be way more successful. So what are you identifying with? Is it someone with IBS, endometriosis, chronic fatigue, PCOS? You're going to find it harder to free yourself from the symptoms if you're taking ownership in that way and keep reaffirming it to yourself and to others. Other ones are, I'm too sensitive, I'm too complex, I have a slow metabolism, I'm an anxious person, I'm not a morning person, I'm always late. Whatever it is for you, just start being more mindful of your language, both in your head and what you say out loud, because your words matter. So in order to shift your identity on the subconscious level, you want to rewire deep-seated limiting beliefs. I have a limiting belief buster formula within the Hormone Reset program, which you get access to as part of my one-to-one package, and you can start working on your thought patterns and your emotions within that. Number three is to clear out the old. If you've heard the saying, your old life is going to cost you your new one, this is part of it. You need to let go and make space for the new to come in, both on like a physical, environmental level and internally. Imagine you're trying to plant flowers in a garden full of rubbish and weeds. Sort that first, you need to clear out, and then that'll allow any seeds that you do plant, any flowers that you do plant to thrive more. Declutter, remove what isn't serving you anymore. Don't feel like you need to throw everything out and buy fresh because that can be very expensive and wasteful, but just take it one step at a time. And you can donate, you can sell things, and just go at a level you can handle because it can feel overwhelming otherwise. But also pay attention to your thought patterns, your behaviors, clothes, memories, clearing kitchen cupboards out of the processed junk food and donating it. Even old apps or photos on your smartphone, unread emails, just get rid of things that you don't use anymore. If you've not used it in the past 6 to 12 months, you're probably not going to use it or wear it again. A messy or unsupported environment is going to equal a messy mind. And you could even do some sage or Palo Santo if you really want to go for it and clear that old energy, but that isn't a requirement. If you're in Facebook groups or you're spending time with people who perpetuate the beliefs or this negative energy, you always come away from the interaction feeling worse, stop doing those things. Your environment is so important for your health, not just air quality, water quality, but also your relationships, what you're watching and reading. So unfollow or mute if you have to people who you're comparing yourself to online. Stop watching the news if that is stressing you out, and pay attention to how much you're focusing on other people's lives instead of your own. And number four, last but not least, is that you need to become the new. Consistency and repetition is key. You want to live as if you're already that person. Feel as if your manifestations and intentions have been received by the universe and they are in process. Like when you order an Amazon parcel, you place the order and then you're just in trust and you're patient with receiving it. You know it's going to show up one way or another. It might be a little bit delayed. It might not come in the box or the way that you thought it would, but you just know it's going to come. So it's the same with your manifestations. It's on its way to you if you set that intention, and you can speed up the process by being and living as that person now. And when you're doing that and you're thinking, feeling, and behaving differently every single day, you're literally becoming a new person or that future version of you now. Just know that your subconscious mind doesn't like anything outside of your comfort zone. And you're also working to undo likely years of brain circuitry that has been firing in a particular way that entire time. So please be patient with yourself. Imagine a field and you're starting to go through a new way through the grass. Over time, a new pathway will form the way that you've started treading across the grass. Over time, when you start to fire and wire together new pathways in the brain, it will start to become the default. These small, consistent actions and choosing to do something different each day will compound over time, and your subconscious mind will be able to reprogram itself. But in those moments where you're choosing, should I go to the gym or should I just sit and scroll on my phone? What would future you do? Even when you're choosing out your outfit of the day, what's going to make you feel like that healed, confident version of yourself? When someone invites you out and your skin's maybe breaking out, but you think of the opportunities and the fun that this person has, you're going to start choosing new behaviors. On an energetic or frequency level, feeling high vibration emotions like gratitude, joy, peace, love, and acceptance is actually going to magnetize more of the same to you. Whereas low vibration emotions like shame, guilt, anger, and frustration will draw more of that to you. So emotions aren't good or bad. It's not like we're never going to feel anxious or scared again, but it's the one that you're in the majority of the time, the dominant vibration. The more you express gratitude for what you have, the more likely you will have even more to express gratitude for. So there's a energetic side of things, but there's also a brain side of things. Your brain is looking for more evidence of what you're focusing on. You can use tools like journaling, visualizations, EFT tapping, hypnosis, subliminals on a daily basis to keep you in that vibration and remind you of your goals. And again, the Hormone Reset Library that you get as part of the one-to-one package has a lot of these resources in there because it's so helpful along with the physical changes. So obviously in 2025, there's all of the physical things that you can be doing. You can get an air filter, you can start to regulate your blood sugar. All of that is still relevant. But if you're not in the right headspace for all of that, you're not going to be successful. If you've not started working on your limiting beliefs, if you don't actually feel that you can heal, you have to start there. It's the final podcast episode of the year, and I'm going to be doing a 2024 recap with what I've learned, some of my personal goals for 2025, and an exciting announcement about the podcast. So be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss this update. And thank you so much for tuning into the show. Have a lovely Christmas if you celebrate, sending you lots of love, and I shall see you next week for the final episode of 2024. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, I would love for you to leave me a rating and review on your podcast app, as this helps to support the show and it allows it to reach more people with this valuable information. Come and say hi over on Instagram. I'm at Viva Natural Health. And if you haven't already, check out my website, vivanaturalhealth.co.uk, for tons more free resources and to discover how I could support you further. I currently offer one-on-one consultation packages if you want my top-level support, then more affordable group programs and self-paced online courses. So there really is something for everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you back here next week for another episode.